This is kind of a little bit ridiculous. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv or Olivia if you are new here, and today we're going to be chatting all about my September TBR. But September is prime fall reading month and I could not be more excited. I'm sure you guys are just as excited. My excitement definitely shows through how long this TBR is. There are so many good new releases that come out in September that I'm going to be sharing with you. I am definitely getting back into my fantasy era, I guess you could call it. I feel like a couple years ago when I started my channel, I was fantasy only, and I can kind of feel that feeling coming back because I have so many fantasy books on this TBR. I just miss fantasy. I read a lot of romance, I read some horror, I kind of discovered those genres, and I just keep coming back to fantasy every time. It is my all-time favorite. If you're not a fantasy person, you can still watch this video, but also be aware there's a lot of fantasy books on this list. But before I get into my personal list of all the books I want to read, I had to tell you guys and make the announcement that yes, we are bringing the Upsidedown Readathon back this year, and I am so stoked for that. If you guys were not around here last year, we had a Stranger Things themed readathon that was hosted by I think 6 of us, I can't remember how many hosts there were, but this year we have 4 hosts. We have Naomi from Naomi's Library, Kendall from Bookphoria, and also Jordan from Sorry Book Salad, and myself, of course. If you guys are huge Stranger Things fans like we are, you are definitely going to want to join. This readathon is going to be held September 18th through the 24th. It starts on a Monday and ends on a Sunday, which is a little bit different from like a Friday to a Thursday. We will be hosting reading sprints though on that Monday to kick off the readathon, and I'm already so excited about the books I've chosen, so let's just go ahead and run through the prompts. We decided to go for the Starcourt Mall theme this year, so we have some bright neon colors and I'm obsessed with these graphics. Naomi did so well with them, but each reading prompt is based on a different season of the show. There should not be any spoilers in these reading prompts. They are just based off the overall theme. But if you have not seen Stranger Things, what are you doing? There are 5 different prompts for this readathon, but if you recall last year, each host represented a character from the series, and we chose a buddy read for that character. And so this year I am going to represent Hopper, who is a sheriff, he's a police guy, he's also a single dad. But if you decide to join my team, I decided that we are going to be reading Whispering Pines. I'm about to say a spoiler for season 3 of Stranger Things and why I associate this book with Hopper. So if you have not seen season 3, I would just fast forward to my next prompt that I'm going to talk about. But the reason I associate this with Hopper is obviously in season 3, Hopper goes missing and 11 is trying to look for him. And in this book, we also have a daughter whose father is missing. She thinks she knows what happened to him, but she's on the search for him. So those are kind of like the big similarities with the show and this book. Ray's father vanished without a trace, and Ray knows what happened to him, but no one believes her when she says that her father didn't run off, that he was actually taken. Now a year of therapy later, Ray's mother decides they need a fresh start, so they move to a new town in the hope that life can return to normal. The problem is there's nothing normal about the town of Whispering Pines. No one knows this better than Caden. He's lived in Whispering Pines his entire life, and he's seen more than his fair share of weird, starting with his own family, as the town is the perfect home base for his mother's ghost hunting business. When several kids go missing and then show up like zombies with their eyes removed, many locals brush it off. But Caden has a dark secret, one that may explain why someone is stealing eyes. And Ray, who knows how it feels to not be believed, may be just the person Caden needs to help him put things right. So obviously this book sounds super spooky. Even the front cover just kind of gives me the chills. I believe there's even a second book, but this is a middle grade series, which I think is super fun. I'm not someone that loves full-out horror, but this looks like the perfect kind of sci-fi mix for a Stranger Things readathon. So if you're interested in joining Team Hopper, this is what we'll be reading. Go ahead and watch everyone else's videos, or you can go on Instagram to find out which buddy read you want to choose based on the different hosts. The next prompt is for season 1, and Egos were a huge theme within that whole season, so we decided to have you guys choose a book that has food on the cover, and for this one I'm choosing a good old graphic novel called Stepping Stones. They're at this little farm stand and these look like strawberries here, so that works perfectly for me. Jen is used to not getting what she wants. Jen did not want to leave the city. She did not want to move to a farm with her mom and her mom's new boyfriend Walter. She did not want to leave her friends and her dad, and she definitely did not want to get 2 new sisters. This is obviously a middle grade graphic novel, which is some of my favorites, but this looks really cute and a great transitional fall book, so I think this is going to be a really fun time. For season 2, of course, a big theme is trick or treat, so we just want you to read a book that is set during fall or Halloween. For this one, we have a little bit different of a vibe, not so spooky, but I chose the cozy mystery The Ghost and Mrs. Mewer by Krista Davis. There are a lot of cozy mysteries that take place during fall or the Halloween time, so I may end up changing my mind with this one, but this sounds super good and kind of spooky for a cozy mystery. So obviously the gazebo theme kind of makes me think of Gilmore Girls, but also there's a TV series involved, which just sounds like a really fun, unique spin on a cozy mystery, so I'm really looking forward to this one. And then we have season 3 or prompt 3, and the huge theme for that was the Battle of the Starcourt Mall. So we just want you guys to pick a book that gives you nostalgic vibes. And for me, that is going to be Caraval by Stephanie Garber. The reason this gives me nostalgic vibes is because when I first started my Bookstagram booktube journey, one of my all-time favorite books was The Night Circus. The theme of this is also a circus, and it's also young adult. So of course it's going to take me back to my teenage years when I first started really loving to read. From what I've heard, this is the perfect fall fantasy to pick up, and so many people have told me I specifically will love this series, so I am really hoping that's true. But I'm super excited to get into this. It has been on my radar for so long. I own the whole trilogy, so now is the time to finally read it. Last but not least, we have season 4, and a big theme was Vecna. He's the big villain in season 4, so we decided to go with a haunted house theme. So you can just choose a book with a haunted house. I actually have 3 different possibilities for this one because I don't know how I'm going to be feeling that week. But the first one is A House with Good Bones by T. Kingfisher. I don't know a lot about this one. I do know there's like some weird birds or crows, I guess vultures, that are kind of haunting this house, and this girl sees like weird things in the walls, and I love T. Kingfisher. I think they write absolutely amazing fantasy books, and so I'm interested to see their spin on kind of a haunted house theme, so this is definitely a good contender. I also have another big spooky book called The Girl from Rawblood by Catriona Ward. This is actually a backlist of hers. I've been interested in this one for a while because it is a gothic type of haunted house story. I'm interested to see her take on kind of the classic haunted house theme. And then I also have The Peculiar Incident on Shady Street by Lindsay Curry. I have not read a lot of spooky middle grade, but the ones I have read have been by Lindsay, and she is phenomenal. Like, I actually get spooked out by her books, and this is one I have not read yet, and I really want to read it because it is set in Chicago. I'm also in love with this cover, so I have no doubt I'm gonna love this one. So I think that is all you need to know about the Upsidedown Readathon. We do have a Discord that I'm going to include in my description as well. This is one of my all-time favorite readathons that Kendall created, and I'm so glad we're bringing it back this year. It's gonna be a little bit more low-key, but I am so stoked regardless. Okay, next we are going to get into the new releases section of this video. There is 2 that I believe are already out, but the other 8 are coming out in September that I'm 100% going to be purchasing. My bank account is going to be screaming, but I at least wanted to mention these to you guys. I did mention them in my quarterly releases video, but if you guys are not aware that these are coming out, I just wanted to run through them really quick and also letting you guys know why I'm intrigued by them. We have the first one, which is The Unmaking of June Farrow. I remember Adrienne Young blew up with Spells for Forgetting last year, and I completely missed out on that hype. Yes, I really want to read it this year, but last year everyone was just non-stop talking about that book, and I definitely don't want to miss out on that. So I'm definitely going to be picking up her new release. I cannot remember exactly what it's about. I think it's like more of a historical fantasy mystery, but regardless, those. I've read a couple other of Adrienne Young's books. I really enjoyed them, so I will be picking this one up. Next, I have The Library of Shadows, which I believe is a young adult fantasy debut, and this cover alone is giving me Addie LaRue vibes by V.E. Schwab. I love the art style of this. I think it's actually dark academia. There's a girl that possibly falls in love with a guy that's a ghost. I've heard it's a little bit more rom-com, but this is also going to be a choice for my Patreon book club for the month of September. If you want to join my book club, definitely check out my Patreon below. We've got lots of fun fall things planned, but I'm especially excited for this one because, I don't know, just the whole vibe of the cover is so good. We also have another debut called The September House coming out in September. I love that. It is a haunted house book. I am very intrigued by the cover. I love giving debut authors a chance, and yeah, that's pretty much why this one's on my radar. We also have Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I have 2 of her books on my TBR for the fall. One is on my TBR for this month actually, but I read Cackle last year and absolutely fell in love with how eerie and kind of spooky but funny it was. There is no doubt I'm going to be picking this one up by her as well. She just has an interesting way with words. She's so creative, and I don't know how to explain her books unless you've read them. This one I think is about a girl who struggles with a toxic family relationship. She feels like the black sheep in the family. But you know there's going to be some type of magical possible element included in the story, so I'm very excited to see what that is. We also have Hex Education by Maureen Kilmer. I read Suburban Hell last year, absolutely fell in love. I knew she was an auto-buy author for me, and this is her next book. It has to do with 3 witches, and I think that's all I know. I mean, I'm just so excited she wrote a witchy book because that is right up my alley. Next, I have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. She also wrote The Wolf and the Woodsman, which I have not read. She's also written Juniper and Thorn. Haven't read that one either, but I'm just going to read you some of the synopsis of this one because it sounds incredible. There's so many buzzwords, but I do know this is a little bit more dark academia, but with fae possibly? Effie has always believed in fairy tales. She's had no choice. Since childhood, she's been haunted by visions of the fairy king. She's found solace only in the pages of Angered, author Emery Meridan's beloved epic about a mortal girl who falls in love with the fairy king and then destroys him. Effie's tattered, dog-eared copy is all that's keeping her afloat through her stifling first term at Lear's prestigious architecture college. So when Meridan's family announces a contest to design the late author's house, Effie feels certain this is her destiny. But Highworth Manor is an impossible task, a musty, decrepit estate on the brink of crumbling in a hungry sea. And when Effie arrives, she finds she isn't the only one who's made a temporary home there. Preston, a stodgy young literature scholar, is studying Murden's papers and is determined to prove her favorite author is a fraud. Obviously, there are so many fun, exciting things that we're going to explore in this book. We have a creepy estate, we have dark academia vibes, possibly a romance, a fairy tale. I mean, what more could you want in a book? The next book I have is The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic, and let me just read the first synopsis line to you because that's what had me completely sold. For fans of Practical Magic and Gilmore Girls. I mean, yeah. The Unfortunate Side Effects of Heartbreak and Magic is a debut novel that explores the shields we build around our hearts to retain our own magic. Are you kidding me? This just sounds absolutely phenomenal. It's a fantasy romance with witches. It's a cozy mystery. There's obviously magical elements to it. It's a little bit paranormal. And this just sounds like it's going to be perfect for fall, but also really heartwarming. The next book I briefly wanted to mention is The Scarlet Veil by Shelby Mahurin. I feel like it has been a long time since we've gotten a book from Shelby. And I believe this one is young adult or maybe new adult, but it is a vampire story. And I loved Serpent and Dove. I think I even read Blood and Honey. Don't know why I didn't finish the trilogy, but I've met her. She's one of the sweetest people on the planet. And of course, I'm going to be picking this one up because I'm kind of loving the vampire themes lately. So I will definitely be picking this one up. I I now have 2 books that are currently out that I'm going to be picking up this week that I've been dying to get my hands on. Is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. I absolutely love and adore Alice Feeney. She's like my top 2-3 favorite thriller authors. Don't even care what this one is about. I'm 100% going to be reading it. And we also have I'm Not Done With You Yet by Jessie Q. Sutanto. I was obsessed with Dal A for Aunties last year. I think I gave it 5 stars. I really loved her new book as well, Vera Wong's, and I'm just really excited to get like an actual hardcore thriller from her. Her stuff is usually pretty humorous, but I'm interested to see if she kind of goes a little bit darker of a route with this one. But if you guys have read or watched the show Killing Eve, this one definitely has the same vibes, and I love that show, so I am extra excited for this one. Now we are going to get into my actual physical TBR, and this is gonna be some mood reading for sure. I have a lot of fall fantasy on this list that is probably gonna go into October and even November, and this doesn't even include a lot of fall books that I've hauled recently because I don't want to give all of my fall book haul away. So I'm just gonna run through real quick. I have a horror book, a couple romance books, I even have a ton of fantasy, like I said. So I'm just gonna go through these fairly quickly, and yeah, this is kind of a little bit ridiculous. Because I was literally just talking about how much I loved Cackle last year, this is probably not going to be a surprise to you that I am hoping to read The Return by Rachel Harrison. This one is kind of giving me my best friend's exorcism vibes because the back says, a group of friends reunite after one of them has returned from a mysterious 2-year disappearance in this haunting debut novel. Apparently when this one friend comes back, she's different than she used to be, and I don't know in what way, if it's physically or mentally or personality. I believe I know some of the main themes or things that go on in this book, but not enough to deter me from reading it. I am just really excited. This is her debut and it sounds really spooky. And just in case I need some cute romance to offset the spooky, kind of crazy, scary feelings, I am gonna pick up The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. This book absolutely took over the whole BookTube Bookstagram community last year. I know I'm gonna give this one 5 stars. I think this is about a girl that pretends to be a witch online, but she's actually like a real witch, but she pretends so people don't suspect her. And I think she goes to like this orphanage or something with a bunch of kids and trains people to be witches as well. It sounds very much like House in the Cerulean Sea, which I really loved. You have that found family trope, but with witches, and this is just gonna be perfect for me. I already know it. Another book that I kept seeing a lot last year, and even going into this year, it's kind of come back up again a lot on my feed, is The Undertaking of Hart and Mercy. I love this cover. It looks perfect for spooky season, obviously, but it is a pretty thick book. It's like 350-400 pages for a romance, but I've heard it has magical elements in it, which you guys know is right up my alley. I think there's letters in this book, which makes me even more excited, and I think this could potentially be 5 stars for me. Before getting into my big fantasy stack, I did just want to mention the couple of cozy mysteries on my list. I had a hard time narrowing this down, but I think these are going to be pretty solid choices. That is If Walls Could Talk by Juliet Blackwell, and I also have Getaway with Murder by Diane Kelly. 2 different vibes here. We have kind of like a haunted house renovation type situation where this girl owns a business and there's a ghost that lives in this house, and so she's trying to help him finish some business before he died. And this one is in the Blue Ridge Mountains. There's like a yoga studio, but there's a killer on the loose, and this is really close to where I live, and so I love that it's gonna be super atmospheric. I could be feeling something a little bit more cozy atmospheric or something a little bit creepier, so this just fits the bill for both moods, and we will see what happens. Now we are going to be getting into the genre that I'm probably going to end up reading the most of this month and maybe even the rest of the year, because I adore fantasy so much. I don't know why it's taken me so long to get back into it, but I'm gonna start us off with Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I do not know much about this one at all, except for the fact, again, it blew up last fall and I don't know why I didn't read it. It's a little bit more gothic. I've heard this girl possibly falls in love with Death himself, and it very much reminds me of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, but make it kind of like a twist Twisted Secret Garden even. I have no idea. Those are just the vibes I'm getting from this book, and I've heard nothing but amazing things. Foxglove just came out. Everyone's super excited about that, and I feel like I just have a lot of fantasy to catch up on, so this is going to be high priority for me. Next, I have an older book by Rebecca Ross, and I adore Divine Rivals, top 3 favorite books that I've read so far this year, so of course I'm going to pick up more by her, and this one is called Dreams Lie Beneath. I'm not sure what year this one came out, but the synopsis sounds a little bit like Strange the Dreamer. So I am just gonna read the inside to you because it sounds absolutely phenomenal. So intriguing. I'm itching to pick this one up. Every new moon, magic flows from the nearby mountain and brings nightmares to life. Only magicians who serve as territory wardens stand between people and their worst dreams. Clementine Madigan is ready to follow in her father's footsteps as the warden of Hairswith, even though she yearns to study the wilder side of magic. Instead, she must record townspeople's nightmares, so she and her father are prepared for the danger of the new moon. When her father's domain is challenged by 2 magicians, Clementine is drawn into a century-old conflict. She seeks revenge on one of the brothers who dueled with her father, but as she gets closer to the handsome young magician, secrets begin to rise. And Clementine, once keen on vengeance, must unite with her rival and face the realm's curse, which seems to be haunting her every turn. This sounds super dark, super eerie. I love the fact that she sees people's dreams and nightmares. I think that's a really fun, unique idea for a fantasy book, and I have no doubt this one's gonna be just as amazing as Divine Rivals. Another book I'm so ashamed that I have not read yet that I keep saying I'm going to read, and I think I'm putting it off because it could be 5 stars for me. That is Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. Sorcery of Thorns is one of my all-time favorite young adult fantasy books. It's just the perfect bookish book for a book lover, and this one sounds so dark and so creepy, but you know I'm here for that. In this one, our main character is someone who helps the dead move on to the next life, but I don't know what else happens. I just know I'm gonna love this. I know it's gonna be so creepy and such an amazing time. And if none of you have read a Margaret Rogerson book, you definitely should. Her books are perfect for fall, so yeah, I'm hoping to finally read this one. If this is not the year I get to this one, I think I'm going to be very upset with myself. Next, I have Bring Me Your Midnight by Rachel Griffin. Can we appreciate this stunning cover? Are you kidding me? And the end pages are absolutely amazing. Truth be told, I did not love The Nature of Witches. I feel like that was a very popular book last year, and I think even the year before it may have come out, but I do want to give this author another shot, especially because this book I've heard is the perfect transitional book going into fall. You have coastal vibes, but I think our main character is a witch, and I don't know much about it other than that. I'm definitely going into this one blind, but that's kind of the way I like to go into my fantasy. I don't like knowing too much. I just kind of solely go off the cover or the vibes or buzzwords of the synopsis or the book itself. So I'm crossing my fingers and praying that I like this one a little bit better than her other book. And last but not least of this forever long TBR, I am prioritizing this one. This is going to be the first book I finish in September. Mark my words. That is House of Roots and Ruin by Erin A. Craig. I cannot believe we have another Erin A. Craig book in our hands. It has been so long since House of Salt and Sorrows came out. I don't believe you have to read that one first because this one just follows one of the sisters, but I would highly recommend reading that first one so you do kind of know what you're getting into with this one. And can I just say how stunning. This is so stunning. I mean, look at the end pages. Absolutely gorgeous. I cannot wait to dive into this one. It's going to be amazing. We follow the sister Verity in this one, and I can't tell you exactly why because I'm scared I'm going to spoil something from the first book, but all you need to know is Erin Craig is one of my all-time favorite young adult authors. If you have not read anything by her, what are you doing? All of her books are very creepy, but just such a good story and plot, and the characters characters are phenomenal. Everything about her writing is just absolutely amazing. So you need to pick up a book by Erin A. Craig, and I'm definitely going to be getting to this one. Okay friends, we have finally reached the end of this video. I don't even know how many books I just mentioned, probably about 25 or 30, which I know is insane, but I'm really hoping to knock out as many of these as possible. I have so much fun, amazing content coming in September that I cannot wait to share with you, but I really am hoping I can fit in a lot of reading time as well. Let me know if any of these are on your TBR as well, and also thank you so much for being here. I've had a massive influx of subscribers recently, and I just want to say I am so happy that fall is your favorite season because it's my favorite season too, and we're just gonna have a good time all fall long. But thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy that you're here, and I will see you in my next fall video.